Hey, what's up guys, it's Left here, and today I am back with another Vainglory video for you guys, playing some weapon power Taka in a ranked match with my friends Yeehawk and Due to You. So, this game is by no means a spectacular piece of play for me. Things go pretty down south in the mid-game, but adversity was faced, and we do end up winning this game against the Kroll, Arden, and Vox combo, which is a pretty good comp in general. So with that said, that sort of relates into what my topic is today to commentate on for you guys, and that is the meta. Now, it's a really broad topic, I know, but if you've been playing Vainglory for a good amount of time now, you probably have an idea of what this is. Meta is sort of like what's accepted, what's used a lot. It's like accepted, used, recognized as good, and just in a lot of instances, sometimes overused, actually mostly overused. But meta is good, it's used, it's frequent, it's prevalent, and you can just like see it everywhere. Like the different ways that people do things, the different rotations on the map, the different heroes that are played, the different builds, those are all meta things. So, with that said, there are three categories of heroes in Vainglory, and they all have varying degrees of sort of meta, of being in the meta. So, first I was going to start with laners. With the laners, obviously our first choice is going to be Ringo. Ringo has never been out of the meta, save 1.7. They nerfed him pretty unreasonably hard in 1.7 to where his Twirling Silver had to like scale up the levels, and that was pretty bad. You barely ever saw him in 1.7 because of that. But since he wasn't in the meta in 1.7, I'm pretty sure that's the only patch he's been pretty bad in. They haven't touched him after that, they reverted the change. Ringo is basically just like your staple lane hero. He does good damage early, mid, and late game. He has good attack speed with his Twirling Silver, and he can deal insane bursts of single target damage. So he's essentially just like the staple meta carry for lane. So I can go on to some other like meta carries in the lane for this patch 1.13, and I would have to talk about Skye first as a CP laner. Skye is like completely in the meta right now. She is pretty hard to play. You have to perfectly land your A and B skills and even your ultimate to an extent, but it's very hard to play Skye, but she does just so much damage that a lot of people, including myself, feel like she does too much damage for the like promised insane skill cap that they said they were going to give her. I mean, everyone really thought she was going to be harder to play than she is, to where not as many people can master her like they do, but that's just how she works. She's really insane in the lane, and no one really likes to play against Skye unless you're like a CP Taka. That's really her only counter, CP Taka, or Vox. But with that said, Skye. Next is Vox. Vox has been like the most fluctuating hero since his release, and he well, when he came out, he was the most broken hero in the game. His ultimate had a CP ratio, which made it absolutely insane in the lane and in the jungle too. He was originally supposed to be jungle, like Super Evil said, but he was a crazy good crystal carry back in like, I think it was 1.3 or 4 that he first released in, and yeah, he was just completely rampant back then. So then in about 1.6, they changed him up a bit to where he was shifting more towards weapon, and you saw a lot of the Voxes going weapon power instead, because they took the ratio off his ultimate. His Sonic Zoom had no CP ratio, his Pulse had no CP ratio. It was really just his basic bouncing attacks that had CP ratios now. But then again, he got another game-breaking change, or like game-changing fix in 1.7, where they've really just forced you to have resonance on the enemy for everything, like Sonic Zoom. You gotta have resonance to be dealing your bonus damage, and they really just made him require resonance for just about everything in 1.7, and since then, really no one has played Weapon Power Vox at all, which stinks. I like Weapon Vox more than CP Vox. I kind of wish he was still a weapon carry, but oh well. We're basically, when a new patch comes out, we all just pray, please no Vox changes, because Vox he just gets relentlessly changed all the time. So that is it for Vox. He just has varying degrees of effectiveness in the meta, just due to the random table of changes that they choose to give him this update. So now after Vox, I can go on to who else? Glaive. Now you guys might not think that Glaive would be like a meta laner, but in high tiers, oh geez, you see so many lane Glaives, it's crazy. But you just see so many lane Glaives because there was one time, I think, like before the VIPL was even a thing, what happened was Gankstars played lane Glaives with, or Cold Meat played lane Glaive and absolutely destroyed the other team, and then it just completely became a thing. It's really only like a North America thing, I believe, but so many people do that. It's like not healthy how many lane Glaives you see. He's really hard to play against in a lane, and he's nearly impossible to gank because of Afterburn, which is pretty, I don't know, I don't like it, but that's lane Glaive. So after lane Glaive, we can sort of talk about Scarf. Scarf is usually on the bubble. He's never really been like fully meta before, and he's just, I don't know, he's usually in an awkward spot because he's pretty immobile. The only escape he has is to try to use his boots or his goop, and his goop is really not a reliable escape against gap closers like Taka. But Scarf, he's pretty good. Really good players that have practiced Scarf a lot will find tons of success with him, and sort of the same for Celeste, but to a lesser extent. Celeste is really not in the meta right now because of rampant heroes like Kestrel and Blackfeather, who are insanely mobile and can just easily dodge out of her skills. So yeah, that really brings me to the end of the laners. Also, Blackfeather, he can be played in the lane or jungle. I'm gonna cover him in the jungle section instead, but that kind of wraps up the laners. To talk some more about junglers, first, let's talk about Kestrel. Kestrel is the OP hero of this patch. We all know. In the early game, it's really just like four glimmer shots, 3 glimmer shots, you're dead. Nothing really you can do. Even armor doesn't help against her. The only thing you can sort of try to do is like build straight up health, which really doesn't even work until the late game. But Kestrel she has barely any counters. The only counters she has are Takas and tons of stuns, which, I mean, the tons of stuns thing is that's it for that's the counter for anything. Unless it's like a team of all Finns, which isn't possible. But with Kestrel, she completely dominates the jungle. She pushes Kashka out of the jungle, which is supposed to like not happen whatsoever. I mean, no one is supposed to be able to push Kashka out of the jungle. But Kestrel does, and that's why we hope she's getting nerfed next patch. So, after Kestrel, you see a lot of people using, who is it? Glaive. I already covered Glaive in the lane. You see people using a lot of Taka nowadays. Taka and Kashka, both of the assassins, or 2 of the assassins, now that we have Blackfeather, they're played in the jungle a lot as to exploit an early game advantage. So, Kashka not so much, but Taka is very good at, she can like, I'm not really sure, but she can just like completely push a Kestrel off of the jungle early game. Taka can, and it's kind of crazy how he can do that because Kestrel is supposedly unbeatable in the lane or jungle. No one can do anything to her, and Taka is just like, nope, he just flips over the glimmer shots and he can just take Kestrel out. So Taka is kind of having a resurgence right now in the meta. which is good. Like, he's been out of the meta since about 1.8, I think it was, where they just completely nerfed him to the ground, took away his crits, all that kind of stuff, and he was just basically unused. And yeah, so they just buffed Taka, or they didn't really buff Taka. They gave him his perk back. They took away his lifesteal. I don't know, they just completely gutted Taka, and now he's finally coming back into the meta, because the meta right now is just like squishy, full offense, mobile carries. So that's Taka. Koshka is sort of coming back. You use her when you have a weapon carry, but if you come up against a Kestrel, you're just dead, because you have no way to dodge glimmer shots at all. And yeah, Koshka she's comp specific now. Like, it used to be the meta was really only Fortress Koshka Ringo. That's like one of my most despised types of patches. I hate that so much. It's just AIDS and cancer and Ebola and every single deadly disease, and I hate it so much. But like, no one likes to play a game where there's only like 3 different heroes being used, so that's why I hate Koshka Fortress Ringo. And with that said, Koshka done for, I can talk about Jewel and how she's not in the meta right now for some reason. Jewel has usually always been like sort of a staple. Like, you see people, some people like her, some people hate her. Jewel is really easy to pick up, like when you start playing the game, because she's very, very point and shoot-esque. Like, you can do, I don't know, if you're a new player, Jewel should be really easy for you. Like, she's not hard. Like, I mean, some heroes have like super tough to understand abilities, like Adagio. His abilities are so strange, and you have to learn them, and you have to learn the effects of them, and he just takes a long time to master. Now, Jewel, all of her abilities are just point and shoot. You tap where you want the Thunderstrike to go, you tap where you want your Rocket Leap to land, and you tap where you want your giant laser beam of death to go. It's not that tough for Jewel. Like, CP Jewel is just like a really easy to pick up hero. And not saying that she's like bad or unskilled or anything, but she's just really easy to pick up in general for new players, because every ability that matters is just a quick point and shoot, which is great in a hero. So, also with Jewel, like, the reason she's sort of like not in the meta right now is that it's sort of the whole mobile squishy carries thing, where it's like Jewel gets completely run around by a Kestrel because she just stealths to behind Jewel's heavy armor, and she gets run around by a Koshka because of the speed boost. She gets completely destroyed by a Taka because he just keeps flipping over her Thunderstrikes. And because of this like squishy mobile hero meta, that's sort of why Jewel isn't really in it right now. She used to be in it with 1.9, Celeste Jewel Catherine was the best comp. Ugh, sorry, Honey John. But Celeste Jewel Catherine was like completely the best comp, completely and totally. It didn't really matter what you did, you were just gonna get triple stunned. I mean, there wasn't really too bad of a problem with that comp, and a lot of people really hated it, but I like when Jewel is in the meta. She's really fun. She's really like the first hero that I started to pick up and play. CP Jewel was like my favorite thing to do when I was a new player, but she's just sort of not in the meta at all right now. Speaking of other heroes that happen to be potatoes in 1.13, let's talk about Rona. Rona just like fell down the ladder completely from 1.9, 1.10 to now. I mean, you remember in the first, like the Season 1 Vainglory League, Rona was all over the place. You saw Guard playing her all the time, you saw Kuldameek playing her all the time. I mean, you saw Gangstars do so many like different buff the Rona comps, and it was, I'm not really sure, but Rona was just, she was the meta. She was really everything there was to the jungle. Everyone was using Rona just with like Serpent's Mask breaking point over and over, and eventually she just got completely destroyed by Super Evil. Like, the nerfs to her were just so unnecessary. Like, you took away the movement boost on her foe splitter. Like, that's like taking away Taka's knife. Like, how is he even gonna function anymore? But, I mean, they took away so much of her kit that she's just out of the meta. She really kind of took Adagio out of the support meta as well, and I mean, no one just uses her anymore. I wish they would. I mean, she was so fun to play back in like 1.9, 1.10, and now she's just gone. I tried playing her in casual once. One of you guys asked me to do a video on her. Tried playing her in casual. There was just nothing I could do. You hit the first foe splitter, and you're just left in the dust because you get a little movement lag, and the enemy heroes are just gone. You can't even catch up when you're Rona. But lastly, I can talk about supports. The supports right now, I can just tell you, there's only one, and it's Arden. Now, there are situational supports like Catherine and Taka, and yeah, I did just say Taka support. Glaive Roam is also a thing, sort of, and really just, I mean, any support can be situational, but right now it's mostly just Arden. You see 2 Ardens in most ranked games, you see Arden banned in all of the pro games, and it's just Arden, Arden, Arden. Not much else, because he's so good after they buffed his Vanguard. I mean, they nerfed the ratio that it gives on health, but they did buff it like a while ago for the cooldown, which was really nice, because when Arden's cooldown, or Vanguard cooldown, was like a 17-second or something, he was like considered the worst support. So that's going to be it for today's video, you guys. I thought I was going to have more time to talk, but apparently I don't. So like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you loved it, and I will see you in the next video.